right, everyone, for this week's Make and Take, we are doing the mini wallet from the Helpful Heifer collection. It's a very simple wallet. It's going to have 2 pockets, one pocket in the front, one pocket in the back, and it snaps closed. It is great for teachers, kids, even for retreats, because you can give it for a gift, and if they have a lanyard, they can just carry their cash or the ID, room cards, stuff like that. So it's a very simple one to make. What you are going to need is you are going to need your main piece of fabric, your lining piece of fabric for the main part of the wallet, and then you will also need lining and main for the pocket. Now, you are going to put fusible SF101 on everything minus the lining pocket. So the main pocket will get SF101, the lining main piece will get SF101, and the main piece will get SF101. Now, once you do that, you are going to curve your edges. My camera decided to be wonky on me today, so I will show you how to do it on a different one. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to do the curved edges. Pretend that this has SF101 on it, and you're going to end up putting right sides together on your main and your lining. So I can show you that real quick. So you will be putting the right sides together, and then you are going to take whatever you are using to make your curved lines. It can be a spool of thread, a bowl, a cup, whatever you have that works for you. For me, I have the Carolina Moore template and the box template. What I have done is I have put sticky notes, and I will explain why. So what you are going to do is, because if you were to line this up corner to corner, that is a really big curve for something so small. So what I have done is I have found about a happy medium that I like with mine, and what I've done is I have followed the dotted line on the template. So there's the dotted line, and I've kind of gone in the middle towards that, and I said, all right, I kind of like it right there. And what I did before I moved it is I put sticky notes to line up with my fabric. And then what you will do is you will mark a curved on the edge. And then when you want to do the other side, you are going to flip it. That way it almost mirrors the other side. And you are going to line it up just like that. And again, oops, sorry. You will end up making another curve, and then you will end up cutting those curves, which I have already done on this one. So once you do that, you are going to take your fabric and you are going to fold it long ways. Fold it down the middle to find the center of your fabric, and then you are going to take your ruler and you are going to measure 1 inch in. Then you will mark said edge right where you indented it with folding the crease. You will mark it with a circle. Same thing for the inside of your wallet. Do the same thing, and you're going to mark it. Now you want these marks on opposite ends. So on the lining, you're going to want it where the curve is at. On the main, you're going to want it on the bottom. Now, each kit comes with a set of magnet snaps. You are going to have a male end and a female end. The male end has a little nub up, the female does not. Then what you are going to do, at least this is how I do it, some people are different than me. I'll zoom in here just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I like to take the bracket that goes behind the snap, and I will get it centered in the middle, and I will mark a line going down each of the little oval shaped parts. And then I will take And do the same thing on this one. And mark down there. Now that is marked. Now I take my seam ripper and I will poke a hole right all the way through and go down the line. I do this very slow so that way I don't go too far. That has been the best way. Some people like to do the scissors, some people like to use the X-Acto knife. That way works as well too, but I feel like you have a little bit more control of being able to hold something. All right, so I always put the male end on the lining since it will be the top of the wallet. And I do put, hold on, I'll zoom out. I do put it, the bracket or the spacer, whatever you want to call it, I put it like that. And voila. Same thing with the female end. I will put it in the bottom and go like that. Now before I do that though, oh wait, no, we're good. Never mind. I always get mixed up on that part. Sorry. So I will put that in. I will put in the little holder to keep everything from shifting. And I will pull that. Now I'm going to take my lining fabric and measure it how much it says to do. Okay, so I measure it there. And this is where your pocket bottom is going to go. Just like that. Okay, and we'll set that aside. Now we are going to make the pocket and the D-ring holder. So let me move all my stuff out of the way. On the D-ring pocket, I'm going to top stitch to get everything closed. And then I like to chain piece my pieces. It just saves me a little bit of time. You will do a 1/4 inch seam on this one. I think after this I have to change my needle. Okay, and then I will do the other side to the D-ring holder. And then for the pocket, you will want to open it to turn the right sides out. Like so. And you are going to want to top stitch that as well. Alright, and then top stitch this. And before I let this go, because it's already set up to do this, I will put my D-ring through the tab piece, and I will go ahead and top stitch this to keep it in place. All right, so now get everything cleaned up, trimmed up. Same thing, trim up this. Okay. All right, so now what I do is I take my lining piece, that line that I marked, I line up my fabric right on that line. And I just cover it enough, make sure it stays straight, and then I will clip it in place. And I will do the same thing. Now what I end up doing is, because you can't really clip right here, I will go ahead and put a pin in the bottom. And then I take my tab. You can put the tab wherever you want. If you want it on this side, just make sure you are putting it on the inside. You can have it over here. You can have it in the middle. You can have it towards the edge. It's really where you want to put your tab and your D-ring. So I like my tab to be usually about 3/4 of an inch down, just like that. And then I will clip that in place. And then on the back of it, I will measure about 2 inches on the edge without a snap on the lining. Okay? Because this is where you're going to turn everything out through. So then what I do first is now you can actually start stitching all the way around, but what I do, because I find it helps out a little bit when you're going towards the end of the project, I will do my turn edge first, and I will show you why. So I do this, back stitch. All right, so then don't forget to back stitch where your turn opening is going to be at. And then I do the same thing on this side. Okay. And then what I do before I do anything, because it actually does help, I will open it up and I will press with my magic seam wand, or you can do it with an iron. You can either finger press it really good. I just take it and go over it a few times. That will cause the crease for when you turn it out, and then when you want to sew it up, it makes your edges almost match up really well. So I do that, and that's done. Now I will pin and clip everything in place for sewing. I'll make sure that my curved edges are lining up, and that way everything stays straight. Okay, so now I will actually pin this part. You can clip it too. Pinning for me, I pin a few things, I clip a few things. When you're going through this much fabric, I prefer pinning. Okay. All right. So now you are going to finish top stitching all the way around. You're going to go around all the edges at 1/4 inch. You're going to go all the way around. All right. So remember, it's not a race to finish, even though it is a simple project. You can take your time going down the edges to make sure you don't lose anything. Okay. And now you're going to clip the corners at the bottom to reduce bulk. Like so. You can also go ahead and pink shear your curved edges at the top. Don't forget to take out your pins. And you can do the pinking shears on the very top. Alright, and then everything is going to get pulled out through this opening. And don't forget, if you want to take out the needle that kept your pocket in place, go ahead and take that out too. If you find that the 2-inch hole isn't big enough, you can always make it bigger. But I just usually go right down the middle. And voila, everything comes out. Now you are going to take your stiletto and you are going to poke out all your corners. You can also take your teal thingy if you have one and do it that way. Just like so. And you want to make sure that it actually all goes the right way, because sometimes that will this will happen, because it just happened to me. So this is actually the outside, and you can tell because my tab is right there. So all you have to do is just push that through and it's fixed. So always make sure you're checking that as well. Okay, and then you are going to poke out corners. Okay. And next, you will take it to your iron to get everything to sit flat. So I'm going to go ahead and iron it real quick. I'm just kind of finger pressing to get all of that out. All right, so I'm going to go do that. Alright, and now I'm going to top stitch just the edge of where I had the turn opening, because once I fold this up, you will end up actually go ahead and closing all the rest of them. So for me, if you want to, you can stitch all the way around and close up. Me, I do it just a little different, so that way there's not so many different threads showing on my project. So I will show you what I mean. Okay. So I'm going to close, and like I said before, with that pressing that seam opening, that looks so much better when it's closed. I really like the look of that when it is closed. It looks nice and crisp, and it keeps everything even and uniform. So now I am going to start at the very bottom here. Okay, turn it. And keep it straight. And I'm just top stitching. And again, I'm just gonna kind of go around the curve. Okay. Alright, then I'm gonna cut it. And now I'm actually going to fold it up. So I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Okay. Clean up the outside. That way everything will look nice and neat. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold it up just like that. Okay, and I'm lining up my edges with the other ones and making sure everything is lined up nice and uniform, just like so. And then I'm going to clip it in place. Make sure everything is staying straight. And clip it there. Again, also clip it there. Okay, and then, all right, so there it is clipped. Again, I will probably end up cleaning this up just a little bit more. Okay. And now I'm actually going to start sewing. I'm going to start on one end and go all the way down and go around right here. So, and that's going to be a top stitch as well. So we'll go like that. Okay. And if you want to, you can double stitch over every pocket to give it a little bit more reinforcement stitching. Completely up to you. I tend to do that because I know I am rough with my wallets. So I will do that. And like I said, as you go along, and that is why. I would definitely use a thicker needle for certain parts of this, or just go really slow like I'm going, especially when you have to go through the tile. All right, and turn it around, do your back stitching. Okay. Okay, and And voila, it is done. So you have your front pocket, your back pocket, and then you can close it up. And you have your D-ring to put it on your lanyard or your purse, or however you want to do it. But it's that simple and that easy. So this is this week's make and take. We will have kits down in the shop. So stop on by or order online, and we will see you next time. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.